Hey everyone, welcome back to Fathers Have Rights. We all heard the news about the Tate brothers. I'm just here to talk about, is it possible they could be targeted individuals? I'm just going to go over my evidence on the investigations we've been working on. I'm focusing on Fathers Have Rights with exposing just the investigations in the United States right now. We'll talk about more later of what it is to be a targeted individual, but today I'm just going to go over my evidence with my individuals and what the beast system has been doing to people on purpose. So the justice system was implemented for justice, right? At least so we would hope. Could it have been used in a weaponized manner? That's what my investigations go to show you. And we have documented proof, files they've corrupted that we get them back. They try to destroy evidence, we get it back. And that's why we did form Fathers Have Rights, okay? Is to expose the weaponized system. It's not just the justice system, it's showing you the weaponized system and coordinated attacks through all systems. And I'm not saying these individuals were innocent by all means. I've seen their bad language and things of that nature. But we cannot just assume someone's guilty. What's the point of having any evidence or a right to trial or even seeing your accuser, right? So we have to be careful of the content that's being put out. We have to look at evidence. We have to see what's really taking place. I'm not saying they're for sure targeted individuals right now. Right now, I'm going to talk about the system and how it is weaponized. That I have proof of. We have documented evidence and proof of the weaponization of our justice system, working alongside a lot of corrupt individuals. I'm not saying everybody is corrupt. I'm saying there are a lot of individuals that are part of this system that we're fighting. Now, we all know Bible verses, and it's important to be under God's covering, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. If you are, let's say, tampering, or let's say you're playing around with individuals that are part of that system, God will remove his covering from your hand if you're looking around and trying to be around the beast system, because those individuals have been taking the mark, and that's why it's a very high intelligence system of syndicated and coordinated attacks. Very intelligent system that's been implemented and in place, and it is attacking individuals that do come up against them. And that's what I've been talking about on my channel and showing you my documented evidence. I'm only showing you a few files. I have hundreds of files of how coordinated and syndicated this system is, okay? Now, of course, if anyone wants to be under the covering of Christ and have that protection, you need to turn to Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, to have his full protection and be under his covering. And of course, still, it says in the Bible, the righteous will be persecuted, okay? It's one thing to have a bad mouth and say things, and it's a whole other thing to be accused of something that is awful and can ruin your entire life for the rest of your life, or felonies can be slapped on your record. That's what they did to the investigations we've been working on. They've even tased my guys when they had their hands straight down, not even fighting, not even doing anything. They will tase you even and attack you and maliciously harm you for no reason at all. They do gang stalking. They do gaslighting. Anytime anyone comes against them, they will target you, and their system is put in place. Everything is recorded. Every single move is recorded. Every single move on my cases has been recorded. Okay? So, for these guys, yeah, they're not everyone's favorite, but is it fair to say they've done all these things until we see proof? I'm just gonna let you guys figure that out on your own, and we'll just wait and see, right? But right now, I'm gonna just show you a little video of how really it is a war. It's either it's some people call it an information war. but it's really a spiritual warfare, because we're not up against just the dragon, we're up against the dragon and the seven-headed beast. Why is it called a seven-headed beast and a dragon? Because they're individuals that are in a system, they work together. It's a very elaborate and intricate system of individuals that coordinate things against targeted individuals. That's why it's called a seven-headed beast and a dragon. They're coming at you from every which way and direction. Okay? So first I'll let you guys watch this, and then we'll see. I'm going to just recap my evidence a little bit with you today to show you the coordination of how bad it is. Okay? It's awful. Okay. I'm not going to go into number 2 in my document. It's a 500-page investigation just for one of my investigations that so far it's 500 pages. I'm almost done writing that one investigation out. Okay. But it's, I was supposed to go over number 2 with you guys. I'll go over that next time. Today, I'm just going to recap what I went over in the first few videos of the evidence that I personally have. Okay. All right, let's look at this video first.
Andrew, we have a special guest that is joining us right now, somebody who noticed that you would be on our show and wanted to say hello. This is the attorney for President Trump, somebody who has been a fighter for the America First Party. Her name is Alina Habba, and she joins us live right now.
Hi.
Hello, Alina.
Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm a big fan.
Well, nice
Big
to meet
fan.
you. I'm a fan. You're the one saving Trump. You're doing more important work than me.
America, not just Trump. And I agree with everything you just said. And I think that your anger is the same that President Trump has for our country. And the time is now for us to stop being wimps. I think that's exactly the right sentiment. And I also have to say that I sympathize with you because I think you go through a lot of the same show me the person, I'll find the crime that President Trump has gone through. And it's ironic that Benny has you on today because, as you know, President Trump just got sentenced in what literally will be one of the most tragic stories in American history and democracy and the justice system that I used to be proud of being a part of. But I agree with everything you say, and I have your...
The justice system I used to be proud of. Did she just say that? Hold on.
Part of. But history and democracy and the justice system that I used to be proud of being a part of.
Because she knows what's going on.
But I agree with everything you say. And I have your back out here in the States. And when I saw that you were going to be on, I said to Benny, I have to meet Andrew Tate. There is literally only one person with the same amount of anger and fire, and that's probably me and President Trump. But it's because you love what's right. And you're being under siege, and I see it. And just keep fighting. I mean, I'm here for it. You know, there is no time anymore for weakness. We are being destroyed, and we need strong, powerful voices like yours. And yeah, I got your back over here.
Well, I tell you, if I ever get stateside, and I think I will sooner or later, if I ever need a lawyer, I'll be calling your phone. But you know, it's very important. It's very important.
So is he gonna call her? I'm not sure. I'm just saying that there's a lot going on that people still are not aware of, and that's what I would like to get into with everybody. Okay, so as we discussed in my first few episodes, which this channel is new, but I do have another channel. It's called Heaven's Curator. Obviously, Jesus is Heaven's Curator. And I made that channel for what's to come. The trumpets will sound and the kingdom will come. It will be a uniting of God's kingdom with us. Okay. So, but this channel is dedicated to exposing the syndicated attacks. Okay. For the efforts of investigations, everything that's been documented, and truth will be out. Okay. We're gonna have truth come out, and that's the goal here. Okay, so let's go over just a little bit of a recap of the syndication, okay? Okay, let's read together. Through documented investigations, extensive findings have revealed recurring patterns of human rights violations, civil infringements, institutional neglect, abuse of authority, and systematic failures affecting vulnerable individuals and families. The investigations serve not only as evidentiary records of misconduct and societal harm, but also foundational frameworks for legislative review. Okay, well, this is a nice way of saying it's a messed up system, okay? We're going to get into the evidence so we could see how coordinated the attacks are. Let's just read this Bible verse together. As Matthew 10:16 states, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." So right now you have to be careful of who's around you. Entrapment is huge in what they achieve. The number one thing they use is entrapment, okay? They put you in a vulnerable situation and they entrap you on purpose. So you have to be careful who's around you, okay? These are some of the laws violated just with one case. 28 U.S.C. 1738A, 42 U.S.C. 5101, torture and identifying 18 U.S.C. 2340, Torture Act versus Domestic Torture Act within the U.S. that I did identify in this document. Right to life, Due Process Clause, Fifth Amendment, 48 U.S.C. 1983, Civil Action for Deprivation of Rights, and Civil Rights Act of 1871, Spoliation plus Due Process, plus Title 4D Judges. I see Title 4D Judges making many mistakes. 14th Amendment, Equal Protection and Due Process, 42 U.S.C. 1985, Conspiracy to Interfere with Civil Rights, Conspiracy Against Civil Rights, that's 18 U.S.C. 241, Domestic Security under the Homeland Security Act of 2002, codified at 6 U.S.C. 101, 6 and 7. That is serious. We're going to get into it. So far in the first couple episodes, we went over number 1. Okay? Again, I said this channel is new. We're going to go over number 2, 3, 4, and all of these together. How they actually coordinate these attacks against a targeted individual. Okay. So where was I? Abandonment of distrust, right to not be subjected to arbitrary arrest, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 2 of the U.S. Constitution, abuse of power, 18 U.S.C. Section 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. Okay, this can be used as civil violation as well. 8th Amendment, 42 U.S. Code, Section 13701, VOCA, 28 U.S.C., Section 1927, abuse of litigation. 18, tampering of evidence, a ton of evidence showing that they tampered with evidence. 18 U.S.C., Section 1951, interference with commerce by threats of violence. In all my cases, they do that. 18 U.S.C. Section 371, conspiracy and co-conspiracy, and it's identified in my document. And there's more that we'll go over together, okay? Obviously, I'm still editing and working on stuff, so I have to continue editing just a couple more of my investigative work. Okay, we went over the full statutory text for the PKPA before. Right now, let's just recap a little bit of the case evaluation for 2 clients, okay? 2 people that we were investigating, these fools. That's what we'll call them. We'll call these B-system fools, okay? Client A, where defendants engaged in wrongful conduct to deprive Client A of his children. And I've touched on this in many videos, the few videos, and we'll touch on it in many more videos. They deprive your children. They take the children away from the rightful parent, mostly if you're in the faith, either A, to further their agenda, take them under their wings of the beast system, or some of them not only do that, but also want to transgender your children. So some of them want to transgender your children. Okay, let's keep reading. Violating his parental rights, disregarding PKPA's mandate to respectful law custody determinations, where defendant moved the case from one court to another, and procedural maneuvers relative to this in terms of modification restrictions. Each entry includes the evidence label. This is just about violation number 1. So the evidence we're showing you today is just about what they do to just for the one violation of law, okay? And I'm not an attorney. I've been investigating this work, and I'm just labeling out my evidence here, okay? Full disclosure. But we can read law. Law is accessible to us. People can fight them pro se, okay? And me, I just listed out definitions, and I just list out my evidence. This is just partial evidence relative to number 1, violating Parental Kidnapping Prevention Act, okay? So there's a paternity judgment by default. The circuit court entered a default paternity judgment for 3 minors, okay? This established the initial lawful custody framework for client A for his children under the paternity actions, which subsequent actions improperly restricted or superseded without full compliance with modification requirements or PKPA full faith and credit obligations. There are things you have to fulfill under PKPA, okay? You have to abide, a judge has to, you have to read and interpret, right? Okay. So, on May 14, 2015, an order dismissing and denying TRO. The order dismissing a petition for temporary restraining order based on the party stipulation signed by the judge reflected early procedural steps where a child abuse injunction was dropped in favor of modifying paternity judgments to impose placement restrictions on the father. Okay, so there is already established county for the custody, okay? So we have to follow the full faith and credit. And there was a TRO, temporary restraining order, that dismissed the petition order based on the party stipulation signed by the judge. This was a procedural step where child abuse injunction was dropped in favor of modifying paternity judgments to impose placement restrictions on the father, bypassing standard contested processes. So there were contested processes. False allegations were here. I realized in my first few videos I was going way too fast, so I think I have to just break down how this all ties together for you. So I might be making way more videos to go over all of my investigative work, but just by going a little bit slower. Okay, so there's an original order in place, okay? They bypass standard contested processes to favor modifying the judgments. Okay, so I'm going to lay it out on what they do. And this was all without this was them just taking action in the back end on their own. Okay. Complaint was filed against him for second-degree sexual assault. The plaintiff that filed this complaint, first of all, was pushed by people in the B system, which she is part of it, and so is her mom, but the mom pushed her to file this complaint. This plaintiff had many others that she's filed against. So she's one pawn they use to file against many individuals that they just want to ruin their life, okay? A normal officer would see the records of how many people she's filed against and say, wait, there's something wrong here. How can this one person be assaulted and raped by so many people, right? There's something wrong here. But maybe they're all just part of it. There must be one cop that just read it and saw her reputation and credibility is shot. But apparently in this town, it's pretty messed up over there. Okay, let's just say they're all in on it. Everybody's in on this system together. I've only met 2 people that are decent by me so far. One CO is decent, and we'll talk about it later. Anyways, I have a bitter taste in my mouth of how evil the system is. Okay. So they filed this assault where plaintiff admits having multiple occurrences against multiple others. In the report, she admitted it. So it wasn't like she was trying to hide, oh, I filed charges against many people. No, it slipped, right? Because she was a certain age at this time, under the influence of mom, pushing her to do this, okay? And including a rape against another defendant and a different assault against another, which was one of her cousins. So this shows a repetitive pattern by plaintiff, admitted by plaintiff that defendant client A stopped when asked to stop. That's in the report. And in the report itself, she admits she told him to stop. I don't know. I don't remember I have so many cases. I don't remember this implication. I think they were just kissing. I don't remember the implications of this one. Asked to stop, or they were doing something further. And she said to stop, and he stopped. And in the actual report, the one that filed these charges admits he helped me even pull my pants up. Okay. So he stopped when asked to, yet he was still charged and detained. Okay. This girl is used nonstop for entrapment because she's got many people she's done this to on purpose, just to slap felony on someone. Okay. So let's keep going. A24 supplemental report memo from DA asking for follow-up from ex of client A. I have these reports. I have all the evidence. Okay. She had contacted the department to give DA more information, quote unquote. Okay. She was trying to put more on him and say he had 20 movies or videos. The officer asked the laptop in possession. She denied having the laptop in possession, so there was no evidence ever found. Okay. A25, voluntary statements by plaintiff A and H and her mother showcasing multiple discrepancies. And I have to take back what I said a little. I just have a bitter taste in my mouth. There are actually a few people there that are still decent by me, but a lot of them work together to implicate and harm and ruin your life in this town, this one investigation. We'll get into a lot more together. So voluntary statements by plaintiff and her mother showcasing multiple discrepancies. So I read the multiple reports by mom and daughter. There are so many discrepancies about one being upstairs, one not being one being downstairs, one saying this, another saying that. That in itself is a red flag, right? 826 statement by emergency detention by law enforcement officer. Community programs. This actually had a statement in the detention of the witness. The witness statement is as well contradictory. 827. These are my files, tabbed evidence. United States Department of Justice, Federal Bureau, Justice Information. This is the rap sheet, okay? The rap sheet had different information. B, May 18, 2015, letter from guardian ad litem, showing that he wrote to Judge Edward Stingle confirming his role for all three minors in the recent child abuse injunction hearing, and parties agreed to dismiss the injunction and instead modify paternity judgments to restrict the father's placement pending treatment progress. So again, they're taking action on their own in the back end. Just, hey, we're above you. We can tamper with your life. This showed the coordination among the GAL, attorneys and judges to convert a dismissed abuse claim into permanent restrictions on the father's parental rights via agreement rather than full evidentiary hearing. B1, 3 separate orders filed in Sheboygan County Circuit Court, consolidated into a single case, signed by Judge Edward Stingle and drafted by attorney John Hawley. These implemented placement restrictions on the father. These orders represented a coordinated modification of the existing paternity judgments, drafted by the GAL and approved by the judge without apparent full notice or hearing on the merits or respect for PKPA requirements regarding enforcement of prior lawful determinations. So screw your rights, right? Let's just screw it. We're doing what we want. B3, notice of release regarding release of funds, all funds to offender and none received. So I'm there on all these cases. He was released. The bag was ripped open. I received the belongings. Nothing in the bag. Okay. So they take your money. You can't even have a penny to go fight what these guys are doing to you. Okay. B4, letter from city attorney. Placing the father's beverage operator's license application on a committee agenda. This illustrates collateral administrative pressure on the father's livelihood and coordinated with family court actions to undermine his stability and parental fitness claims. So all these attacks are coordinated and on purpose. Let's entrap him. Let's slap a felony on him. Now we're going to take his children away. Okay? That's what's going on. And they do this to everybody. A lot of people. If you're targeted, they're going to come after you and they're going to ruin your life any which way they can. Okay? All right. B6. Order to appear in Circuit Court, Branch 5 on October 1, 2015, signed by Judge Commissioner James Bogart. This reflects ongoing court proceedings that maintain pressure and restrictions on the father amid the custody modifications. So this is mental abuse, because just taking your kids away is enough of a mentally traumatic situation. Just that alone is mentally traumatic, okay? Throwing you in prison, slapping felonies on you, being entrapped, and then they manipulate you to make you think this is all your fault. That's not the case, because we've been documenting everything, every maneuver. They do it on purpose as their entrapment, okay? B7, May 18, 2015 letter and later contempt actions. Father sent letter to Judge Berg enclosing statement of services and proposed order for payment. Later order to show cause for contempt was sent, notarized, November 2016, signed by Judge Stingle. So the father sends a letter for a proposed order of payment, and he gets an order to show cause. These financial contempt proceedings added layers of legal entanglement, diverting resources and portraying the father as a non-compliant to justify further custody restrictions. B9, February 21, 2022, waivers and custody form signed by supervisor, assigning an agent, deciding the father shall be held in custody based on beliefs he is dangerous, likely to flee, engage in criminal behavior, or violate supervision rules. This supervision decision directly impeded the father's ability to exercise parental rights or appear in family court as part of broader restrictions following earlier custody orders. Again, all eyes have been on him nonstop. Didn't move his hands from his sides. Wouldn't harm a fly. Not dangerous. Didn't attack anyone. Didn't do anything like that. B10. Inmate work program assignment. Instructions removing the father from one assignment and placing him in another. Okay, this reflects institutional control. When they move you from one thing to another, it is on purpose. You're not being moved just because they're full there. You have to document everything that's taking place to you, okay? This reflects institutional control during incarceration, limiting his autonomy and ability to address or contest the ongoing deprivation of his children. Okay, B11, summary for a program signed by social worker. In such programs was likely used as evidence or lack thereof in arguments for unfitness or failure to assume responsibility in termination proceedings. So they have documents, summary of a program, and indicating the documents. I have all these documents. This social worker was just dishing out paperwork like the fatherless generation, the implications of parents without children. That's the manipulation they use at you. So this seven-headed beast and dragon will attack you strip you away from your children, ruin your life. And if you don't have children, they'll just throw felony on you after felony. And their goal is to manipulate you, make you think like you did this when it actually was coordinated on purpose and intentional. I'm not saying there aren't people out there that are messing up on their own and getting their own felonies by their own selves by making mistakes. I'm talking about we're here to expose the coordinated, syndicated, system attack, the weaponization of the justice system, not just the justice system, let's just call it what it is, weaponization of every system, because they have heads in every state, every department, every country, everywhere, okay? They weaponize it, and then they like to manipulate you, make you think it's your fault. So they handed them paper after paper, how you're an unfit dad, what it means to be an unfit dad, how you're supposed to be there for your kids. Well, you guys took my kids away. You did it. And now you're telling me it's my fault. That's manipulation. And the sad thing is, this happens to a lot of people, and people start to believe that, oh my gosh, I actually messed up in life, and it mentally messes them up. It gets people so broken down. There's some that have unalived themselves. It gets them so broken down, they don't fight the fight to get their kids back because they give up. I mean, can you imagine being without your kids and seeing them transgender or something? I mean, you have no control over it. That would drive anyone crazy, okay? B16, the B series is the TPRs, the termination of parental rights orders. They were electronically signed by the judge, finding the father unfit based on abandonment. Mind you, they know where he's at. They put him there, and they could easily give him the right to appear for hearing, because actually you cannot just do a TPR you cannot do a TPR and hand over guardianship with pending adoption to the mom's husband just like that. You have to go through so many loopholes to just sign off on a TPR. You have to go above and beyond to find the other parent. They did not do that here. They knew where he was. So again, this is coordinated. And you have to work out so many ways. There's many, I'll list them later in another video. There's so many steps that you have to take before you could find someone unfit based on abandonment. You're supposed to reach all their entire family. Not one family member was reached, not one grandma, not one friend, not one coworker, not one boss, not one employee, nothing. No one was reached, and this was signed instantly, okay? Now, this is just some of the evidence for number 1. Let me go to the evidence for number 2, just to touch on what else these fools do, okay? So they didn't, let's just go over this. The evidence identified from the A series to B series shows entrapment and fabricated exaggerations and allegations, unsupported criminal accusations utilized to impair parental standing, intentional ignoring of facts, even per plaintiff in police reports, the one that filed against them, contradictory witness statements and procedural inconsistencies, implication of client A in additional criminal conduct without substantiating evidence, use of emergency detention procedures and incarceration-related barriers, placement restrictions imposed through procedural agreements rather than full evidentiary adjudication, manipulation of supervision and revocation proceedings, use of alleged noncompliance, incarceration, restricted access to manufacture findings of abandonment or unfitness, termination of parental rights. This is not alleged. We have all the evidence here. Okay. Use of alleged noncompliance, incarceration, restricted access to manufacture findings of abandonment or unfitness, termination of parental rights based upon conditions created and exacerbated by the coordinated actions of involved parties with failure of the court system to locate client A. Not one attempt was made. And again, they all knew where he was. The law requires reasonable diligence to locate, serve, and notify a parent before a TPR can proceed. Okay. This is nothing. This is just for number 2. Okay. All of the evidence cataloged is paternity judgments, custody orders, TPR proceedings, and orders letters, criminal complaints, supplemental investigative reports, witness statements demonstrating inconsistencies, evidence of fabricated and unsupported allegations, revocations and supervision documents, unsubstantiated revocations, program participation and incarceration records, communications between involved parties, court transcripts, including ones they deleted, which I retrieved, and hearing notices, evidence showing lack of preventative services or meaningful reunification efforts. Okay. So, let's see more evidence. Oh, I have a million things for my cases. Oh my goodness. A million pieces of evidence of everything. Let's see. We're going to go to the evidence. Here we go. This is a fun one. Coordination to harm plaintiff and children. Again, this doesn't just harm the dad, it harms the children. Due process issues in TPR, involuntary TPR on abandonment and failure to assume parental responsibility, despite motions and efforts for placement and visitation. Due process in 2015, involuntary mental health process. Yeah, they threw him in a mental health institution as well, without his approval. This is what they do to people. Potential improper initiation without sufficient basis. Well, that actually needs editing as well. Due process in prison, release revocation context, medical file review B50. Tied to health during incarceration, revocation for failure to report, with AJL decision order without apparent full fairness concerns raised, pre-release processes B51 to 48. Oh yeah, they gave him a revocation when his CEO told him don't report in, it's COVID. No one's in the office, we're all closed. So don't report in right now. That was like a 2-week period and there was a revocation for that as well. Broader due process and family related deprivations, repeated visitation denials, despite attempts to contact children linked to TPR scheme and personal motive, due process and emergency mental health detention commitment process, state of emergency detention B70 filed months after event, unsigned settlement agreement order to transport B71 leading to transport detention without valid signed court order. You can't just transport. Notice order for probable cause hearing B72, detention order B73, service of rights and initial detention B74, improper initiation or procedural flaws and involuntary hold, detention, probable cause hearing notice for April 8th, tying into broader allegations of coordinated harm, coercion, affecting parental rights, life, and liberty. Due process in prison sentence credit processes. Attorney request for sentence credit review under Wisconsin Administrative Code DOC 30223 was denied with no action. B91 potentially with depriving fair credit for time served and post revocation. Broader liberty health due process in prison conditions. Positive notification B92 without attached lab numeric results of provision of CDC approved masks. So they didn't give them masks when this outbreak took place for no decontamination. Dental care was delayed while he was in there. Request on February 2023 for appointment for abscess, infection, chipped tooth, and risking worsening health. They did not care. They don't care. Okay. Oh, and obviously the fair credit, we could get into that in another video. For time served, and Wisconsin is every state is different, obviously, for time served. We could get into that in another video. Due process in prison, sentence release administrative processes, notification of sentence data B101 showing adjusted release date but maximum discharge unchanged and parole ineligible without explanation or review opportunity. Broader liberty due process concerns in incarceration conditions. Telephone problem reported. So he had a pen and they kept saying his pen just not working. And they were blocking attorney calls. They also revoked him when we'll get into that. He was revoked multiple times for, these guys are assholes. It's not funny. I don't know why I get like giggly. It's not even funny. So blocking attorney calls as well as paralegal calls to call him, attorney appointments, claim of being impacted by phone issues, due process and enforcement of parental rights, motion to enforce physical placement of 3 minor children were obstructed prior to TPR abandonment findings and ongoing arrears child support pressures. And they kept harassing him. We're going to put you in, we're going to do this. We're going to put you in prison in some letters. We're going to do this to you. We're going to seize everything you have. Mind you, they got him to the state of being homeless. Okay. And they harass you with financial pressures. This whole system is going to go. Okay. In Christ's reign, this is all going to go. This is not going to be allowed. It just can't be. Procedural due process in child support, collective seizure, notice of lien and credit bureau reporting. That's another intimidation factor they use. C6, placing lien on all personal property, threat of seizure, sale under Wisconsin statute 49854. Belongings sealed, lost upon apprehension, bag sliced open upon release. I have that. Liberty, property, due process in prison, commissary rules, refusal of order leading to no refund, C7, violating stated DAI policy 309-5201 on refunds for wrong, damaged, undelivered items. Okay, this is just for number 4. Okay, so the reason I'm going over my cases is to show you the coordination is so intricate. It is a very intelligent system. These beings are not idiots. Their syndication is very very fine-tuned to the point where you don't even realize you're being attacked. That's why I like that Bible verse, be wise as serpents but harmless as doves. You have to know your surroundings, who's around you and who's not. It could be your neighbor, it could be your best friend, and they could be part of this system. Okay? And they'll implicate you. They will surround you from every direction. They will entrap you. They will harm you. They will do a lot to you. Okay? So I pray that, I'm not saying the Tate brothers are innocent. We'll just see. There are people that actually do wrong. But we can't just convict people just because they have a bad mouth and have done things in the past. We still have a system in place for a reason. We're supposed to, have a right to a fair trial. And by the way, I pulled up statistics in several countries. Barely anyone makes it to trial because they wear you out to the point. I think it was like 4% in British Columbia, and I gotta pull more statistics everywhere else. It was like 4% get to trial. Most people don't fight. You could fight pro se. Most people don't fight because they wear you out. This is how much they wear you out to the point you give up. They wear people out to the point where they give up. They're like, why would I fight this? There's no chance. That is very sad. And then they put financial pressure on you in every direction to where you just give up. You go become homeless and you say, screw this. I can't do this. And, it's really sad. You know how many fathers I'm actually helping right now? I'm even helping out of my own personal funds, place them in hotel rooms right now because of the attacks that they've had to endure, and they've lost their children. That alone can put you in a state of mind where you can't function. That alone, besides all the other attacks they throw at you. So don't look to these individuals thinking they have a heart. They do not have a heart like us. They are not like Jesus, they're not like God. It is a spiritual warfare. So I pray that this channel helps you at least open your eyes to the syndication and the coordinated attacks that's taking place. Stay tuned for more. We'll get into a lot more together in the future. Thanks for watching.